Hey everybody, what's going on? Rob Cesternino back for Talking with T-Bird. Yes, that's right. T-Bird is back. Of course, the star of Talking with T-Bird, T-Bird Cooper. T-Bird, how are you?
Hey, Rob. I'm great. Excited again to be here with you.
New grandma doing?
Great. Everything's good. Still very surreal, but anyway, I'm working into it. I love it.
Such a great response to our last podcast with Tina Wesson. So many nice comments have been coming in. So many people have been happy to see both your beautiful granddaughter and then also that Talking with T-Bird is back for a brand new season.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited because we've got some really great guests lined up from the old seasons, and maybe we'll throw in some from the new seasons, but it's going to be fun.
Okay. All right. Well, we've got a good one here today. T-Bird has managed to track down somebody who has been on her list for a minute. It's Survivor Pearl Island's Christa Hastie.
Oh, God.
Yes. T-Bird has the bell on the floor, which I love. You're like a drummer.
I know it. Yeah. So Christa will not disappoint. She's a talker. She's got lots to say, and she's got a lot of energy, just like she did 20 plus years ago. Even with 4 children, she still has as much energy as she ever had. So we're going to enjoy her today.
Okay. All right. So that should be a fun one. Of course, we already have started this season off with Tina Wesson, and then T-Bird is working hard. I'm very impressed with T-Bird. Of course, I shouldn't be surprised, but T-Bird has really been firing on all cylinders, getting some great guests lined up.
Yeah. Hey, it's equally exciting for me too, Rob, especially when I've been working on some for so long. To be able to reel them in, it's a great feeling. Because I know that the fans are going to love it.
All right. And of course, if you're just listening to the audio version of the podcast, Talking with T-Bird is now on video. And so many people have written in nice comments to say they are so happy to have the Talking with T-Birds on video so they can see the people on the shows. And so I can't promise if there's somebody who's like a really great guest that we've been looking for, and they don't want to do video, we probably won't have the video. We'll get the interview, but wherever we can, we're going to try to get video with everybody. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and bring in today's guest. It's Christa Hastie.
Our guest today played on the 7th season of Survivor Pearl Islands. This then 24-year-old computer programmer from Ojai, California, describes herself as happy-go-lucky who could care less what people think of her. She decided to go on an adventure of a lifetime saying, quote, "You don't get better odds for winning $1 million. 1 in 16 chance, you might as well go for it," end quote. She believes she would be an asset because of her food making skills. She proved a force when she carried 160 pounds in the water torture challenge, a record still held by a woman. She was voted out day 33, but not before the tribe accused her of dumping out a bucket full of fish. She said her strategy, if she had made it to the final tribal council, was, quote, "If they decide to keep me and take me to the final 2, they would most likely win because everybody hates me," end quote. She said after being voted out that she should have practiced becoming a better liar. Quote, "I'm real bad at it. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Everybody else seems to be really good at lying," end quote. And she said she wished she had not trusted people so much. Since Survivor, Christa has married, had 4 children, and for over a decade had a full-time career as a software engineer. Soon after, Christa, a loving, caring, faithful daughter, would begin an emotional journey with her mom, Vera, and lead a social media campaign to help solve the mystery of her Aunt Rosemarie, who went missing at 14 years old in 1954 in Montreal, Canada. Christa's mother had exhausted all avenues known to her at that time, but knew her daughter had the drive, tenacity, and despite any setback or obstacles, would not stop until the mystery was solved. Christa made a Facebook group, and with the help of her husband, Ali, and her children, known as the, quote, A-Team, they began to unravel the mystery. The novel, based on the true story, simply titled Whatever Happened to Rosemarie, has just recently been released. It is a fascinating read with important information giving Rosemarie a voice after 70 years. Christa said the key piece of evidence that led them to answers about Rosemarie's disappearance was the DNA. Christa wants to raise awareness of the benefits of DNA testing kits in solving missing persons cases. Her mantra, after years of tirelessly working on this project, quote, is to be kind. Nobody knows who suffers in silence, end quote. Christa thought she wanted to become a baker or a chef while playing Survivor, but after leaving the island, she no longer had the desire. After the passionate research of her Aunt Rosemarie's disappearance, which uncovered much, but left much more to be explained, I expect Christa's new path to be investigative journalist, detective, or criminologist.
Wow.
This now 45-year-old mom said she learned from playing Survivor that life is very simple and you don't need much. She was part of an all-star cast and said she made a couple of interesting friends. Those friends included Rupert, who she has described as a grumpy old man, and Sandra, who she said, quote, is bold and says it how it is, like me. And I respect that, end quote. I introduced this one-of-a-kind, headstrong, determined woman who dares anyone to say she can't, Christa Hastie.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow. Well, thank you so much. Wow, you make me sound so great. Thank you.
You are pretty fascinating. That is absolutely for sure. So Christa, I think I've mentioned this. Rob and I we started talking with T-Bird about 5 years ago? This is our fifth season. We have been trying to get you for that length of time. So
where have you been, Christa?
Well, hey, Rob, how's it going, man?
Going great. How are you? It's so good to see you.
Oh, it's good to see you too. You know, this is all the old school people, and it's funny because I know all. If you're like season, I say 15 down, I know you. You know, if I maybe I know you if you're up there. Maybe I don't know. We're just people that I just feel like
promises.
I know all of you in a very even if I don't know you, I feel very connected to all of the people from the first 15 seasons. So hey. Yeah, I've been busy. It's been tiring. So here I am. And thanks for having me. Sorry. Between the pandemic, we had a pandemic. Remember that? That was like 4 years ago. Exciting stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. We experienced one of those things that they throw down in the history books. We did it,
Mm-hmm. Yep. We did it. But we're so happy that you're here today. And that's all really incredible about the book. I was getting the update on it all from T-Bird. And yeah, that's wild. How long did that take you to put the book together?
Well, it started in 2022. And actually, my mom started writing this back in 2015, when she retired. She moved from her home in Ojai and moved in with my family up in Los Angeles, or I guess, it would be down. But I just enrolled her in a class at UCLA to just do some writing for fun, just because my whole life has been searching for my Aunt Rosemarie. So, I mean, all the time we stop, we look at obituaries, we call every Rosemarie. Helga was her middle name. And I mean, you wouldn't think there'd be so many Rosemarie Helgas in the world, but there are lots of them. I mean, we constantly search obituaries and call random people and we ask them their life history, and it never turns out to be the same Rosemarie, but that's okay. But with this onset of all this technology, I mean, I've been on Ancestry.com. I got Christmas presents for all my family maybe a decade or so ago. So, I mean, and honestly, I studied, microbiology and molecular genetics in college. And so I didn't really think about DNA being the way to solve this. But with all this, everything's being digitized. So all the archives, every photo has somebody that is somebody in it. And so when you look at these archives, it's fascinating because, just start picking things out of nowhere. Like if I can recognize a picture, if I can recognize a name, a fact. And I literally, since all these newspapers recently got digitized, I started reading every article from 1950 to 1970.
Wow.
Yeah, you find out a lot of stuff, but we just started having a lot of momentum here. So yeah, we put on our detectives hats, and when we found this DNA match, it was this young girl. She was an underage girl who had just gotten a DNA kit because she really just wanted to find out about her family. And she never knew anything about any of her past family except for her mom's side, which she knew very well because she was only raised by her mother. So when she put her DNA out there, we found a bunch of messages on our Ancestry account saying, hey, who are you? I'd love to connect with you, because she was a close match to my mom and myself and my children. And we got on the phone with her and her mom several times, and they're like, my mom's like, no, we don't look like her. No, it's not related to us, definitely. But anyway, and then just the DNA was so complicated, because how it works in the world is there's a certain percentage that you share with everybody based on your relationship. And you can have that also equal lots of potential relationships. And they say in the world of DNA, never say never. So, this is sort of, there's a lot of potential outcomes, but this is sort of what led us to it. I'll just keep talking, you guys. I talk a lot.
Well, so I wanted to mention this because I know that she was under a lot of stress doing all this these last few years, and you might not get that impression listening to how she's describing it, but she actually, I believe, lost more weight doing this research than she lost on Survivor. Is that correct, Christa?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I guess I should have thought about this beforehand. I mean, I just really wanted to find my mom's sister. I mean, it's just my whole life I've learned about kidnapper vans and don't go next to the vans that have no windows. I mean, everybody's life has been shaped with this disappearance. So when I think about, it's just, you never think that something horrible is going to come out of the situation, or something you didn't want to know, or, the genie coming out of the bottle, as I like to say. But it was a lot of stress getting phone calls one after the other. I mean, not actually, of course, I have to go in with the mindset with everything. It's just like Survivor. Like, I'm going to go in because I want to win. I mean, and to think anything else is going to put you in a mental place where you're not going to win. Like, that's just, you can't set yourself up for any project like that. So really, a needle in a haystack, and hey, there are no like security cameras I can comb through. All the records are missing. Everything's gone in a flood or fire. So, I didn't really expect something, but man, it was a lot. It was a lot. And every day we got a phone call from the Toronto Police Department was just we had to sit down. And, we've become more comfortable with it. But yeah, I went from 145 healthy pounds to 115 in 1 month, because I just couldn't handle it. Like, I just what are you talking about?
How much did you lose on Survivor?
Probably 25 pounds. It was pretty significant, but it was just traumatic. Stress is traumatizing. And we've become much better now with it. We've become much more comfortable. I talked to Sandra, and she's really good with these kinds of things. She's like, oh, everybody's got this kind of stuff in their family, girl. I'm like, what? That's not me. I'm not used to this. She's like, oh, girl, let me tell you, my uncle, he's great, but don't even think about it. Crazy people exist everywhere. I'm like, okay. Nah, we've had a chance to talk to a lot of the family, and they're very nice people, actually. And they look like me.
Wow.
They're beautiful. By the way, you haven't aged a day. You are so beautiful. That long, beautiful hair.
All the time.
You look gorgeous. So has your Survivor family been supportive with all this? And I know I saw something that you had read that if I never talked to those people ever again, I wouldn't be missing out on anything. That was, I think, after you left the island. Who have you stayed in contact with?
Oh, Sandra, she's pretty much her, and Rupert. Rupert's like me. We're not big texters and big, just constant. I'm not on Facebook anymore. I got off.
Christa, I saw that seemed like you and Sandra and Rupert had a reunion recently.
Yeah, it's great. They flew out to come help support my mom for her book launch party. I thought, you know what? Let me just tap into the people I know, and let me get a little bit of PR for my mom and get some Survivor fans out. Maybe we'll make our bid for season 50 here. No, not that anybody would ever take me. I'm just saying, but
Hey,
she opened it up, Rob.
Doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt.
Yeah, I know. I always put myself out there, but They're never going to pick me. I get it. You know, I'm not Rupert. I'm not Sandra. I'm not as badass as the rest of these guys. I'm not Rob Cesternino, you know.
So, Christa, so
Stop.
obviously, I was curious about that. Would you want to play again? And I think we just heard absolutely.
Heck yeah, you know, the difference is now versus 24-year-old me. It's just like, you know, I may have been saying that I could do anything then, but now I have the mind to do it. You know, it's just more, I realize that people are human, and you're going to have the vile humans and you're going to have the good humans, and you just need to trust in knowing yourself and just solid, you know. And like I said, the mentality of I can do this, and it's not even, it's just because I want to just kick everybody else's ass, because I want to show people that good is in the world, and you don't have to be some villainous, horrific, vile person that needs to make some grandiose speech to get to the end. You know, I could be normal me. I could talk to Jeff now too. I'm so excited. If I had the opportunity to talk to Jeff, I would just tell him how it is.
Yeah. What would you tell him? What would you say?
I would say you're a healing dragon, Jeff. And because you allow everybody this amazing platform for everybody to realize that they are okay being them. And like, that's what Survivor brings to the world. Like, everybody should feel comfortable and excited about themselves. And I think that Jeff always makes sure that everybody knows that. And I love that. And we're all change makers. Look at what we're all doing. I mean, right now, having me on the show, you know, we're changing the world. I hope to get the good word about DNA. You know, go do DNA kits, everybody. Upload your raw DNA to GEDmatch, by the way. DNAsuperhero.org is our website.
Yes. And upload your raw DNA?
Your raw. Let me enunciate. Raw DNA. So if you didn't know, you can go Ancestry, 23andMe, My Heritage, Family Tree DNA. They all have kits that you can buy. And some of them, you can get them at the right time. They're $30-$40. You don't have to ever pay full price. Mm-hmm. But they have a function on Ancestry.com where you can download your raw DNA file. And you can take that file. It's just a little file that you click on, and you put it up on this website called GEDmatch.com. And GEDmatch.com is a really important site for law enforcement, because they're able to identify and solve cold cases with DNA from everybody. And whether or not you think that you're involved or important, and don't worry, a lot of times people get contacted on there, and they may be a third, fourth cousin of somebody. But this is how they catch people. This is how they find people. This is how we found my Aunt Rosemary, is that we took these distant matches and the close match. We had lots of people. And by using this new technique called investigative genetic genealogy, labs like Othram, Parabon Nanolabs run by CC Moore, she's a huge genetic genealogist, we're able to build family trees and then identify who that person is, or who was the killer, if it was a case of that. But all of this, having your DNA up there, is so helpful for law enforcement. So please, everybody, please just take 2 minutes out of your day and upload your raw DNA.
Can you describe how that works? Like, because I really do not know a lot about this. The only thing I know is from that TV show Cold Case, where the woman would take out like the banker's box off the shelf and start, like, would they just like take our police working on like taking evidence from old cases and then doing DNA type swabs on things that from periods where DNA was not used in any sort of investigating?
Yeah, and even and current cases, everybody in the US and around the world. Like, for example, there was a lady that visited Canada recently, Toronto, and her case was just recently solved, a 30-year-old case, because she was found in the lake nearby. But she was visiting from Switzerland. So by using the DNA that was uploaded to GEDmatch, they found a distant cousin of this woman. And they were able to identify that she was a Swiss woman on vacation. So it's just like finding family members that are related and then working your way up a family tree to figure out who they are. And everybody's DNA counts. You may be very distantly related, but you may be the one person that leads them up the ladder to who it is. And so, yeah, it's all the DNA swab from bodies. It's DNA swab from just people, missing people's stuff. This is how we can find people.
All right, so you referenced Jeff. So I want to get the one word that you would describe Jeff Probst. And then I want to find out if you have been watching the seasons now.
Oh yeah. Well, Jeff, yeah, he's the healing dragon. So love Jeff.
Did you make up healing dragon? I've never heard healing dragon before. We've heard a lot of words. That T-Bird's famous question, but never healing dragon.
Well, he heals people. Come on, don't you feel like that's a healing? How many TV shows do you feel like girls are feeling bad about themselves for the first time? They're like, oh, I need to be like that in order to be accepted or wanted. You know what Survivor shows them? You don't have to be like that. It's just like, and every time, I mean, over the years, I've been really humbled with all of the fans. I mean, we all know all the major fans, but we know all the other fans too. And like when I read comments over the years, it's like, oh, I most relate to Christa, or I most relate to T-Bird. You know, like somebody relates to each one of us. And that's where this casting and Survivor family, like we're such a special group. I mean, in the sense that, you know, when you can bring upon magic and power for the world and you just have to be yourself to do that, then that's just like amazing. You know, we're change makers is what I say. All the survivors are change makers. We're changing everybody and
wow.
getting people to feel like best they can.
That's powerful words, Christa. And I just want to mention this. So when you came off, were you pleased with your edit? Because I know back with Africa, I'm thinking about some of the players out there. They did not like their edit and they were influenced by that in kind of in a negative way, that it was very difficult for them. So it sounds like you had a really good experience.
I mean, I did. I mean, of course, you know, everything sucks when it sucks, but the aftermath is always fun. But it's just, it's like everything. It's such a temporary moment in our lives, and it's really not that big of a deal. I mean, I'm like a total armchair survivalist. You know, I watch all the shows. It's just, I'm like, girl, didn't you know that you were coming out to suffer for 30 days? That's what we do, man. It's fine. I mean, of course it sucks. Of course. Yeah, who likes to freeze? Who likes the bugs? I don't think so. You know, but I thought I got a good edit. I mean, I'm just me. It's hard not to be me. And, you know, back then I was not a good liar. I still am not a good liar. I'm not good with confrontation. And a lot of survivors are very confrontational. Like I would never want to be on with people like Eliza or Corinne, because these people are vile, horrible people that I can't handle. Like, when they start screaming at me, that's just like, you people are bullies.
Yeah. That type of player you wouldn't want to play with.
No, it's just hard to deal with. You know, they kind of like, they know people like me.
Yeah.
Like, they know that I'm just trying to resolve things.
I just want to be specific that you're saying that type of person or them specifically.
Oh, them specifically and that type of person. But
okay.
I don't know all the new players, so I can't even think of some of the vile players from recent. I'm only thinking of the old school vile players. So, you know,
Christa, you better just get ready for this, because if you get cast on season 50, some of those players will be out there. Sure.
Oh, but
you could be part of a rival season now.
No, BC, I don't. That'd be great, right? No, there's a lot of people that I respect. I would love to play Survivor with Stephanie LaGrossa. She's awesome, man. That chick is like, she's so hardcore, team player. She's like my type of girl, you know, gets into everything and like really just genuine.
See, a lot of people come on the podcast here and they're like, I love everybody. Everybody is great. But that's not what you get from Christa. This is like she's being very raw, and that this is I'm captivated.
Well, yeah, well, hey, I'm captivated too. But let me tell you who else. Here's another example of Survivor and how great it is. Missy Bird. I'd love to play with Missy.
Oh,
Bird.
Okay. Have you met her, or is that just from watching on television?
Watching, I don't read fan stuff anymore. Like I said, I've been off social media for a while. I just don't even care about that side. I just want to see, and it's fine. The edit will show people, but you know, I remember her big mistake on her season, and again, mistakes don't define people. And she would stand up and said something about it, you know. And I love that she was willing to apologize for what she felt was the wrong thing at the time, you know. But Stephanie and Missy, man, can you imagine those girls on your team? Like, we would kick.
You win a lot of challenges.
Yeah, we would. That would be awesome. I was with Sandra, and we were losers all the time.
So you've watched the seasons up till now, the 26 days, right?
Yeah.
So So you're watching it now, right? Did you watch? Okay, so you noticed, how to say this nicely, Rob? There are a lot of the players out there that maybe aren't like a Stephanie or a Missy or a Christa as far as the athleticism, and maybe they haven't camped much, or maybe they have allergies, or they don't like bugs or something. There seems to be a lot of those in the new era play. Yeah. So what do you think about that?
All these, I don't know. This last season was it was too speechy again. I don't know. The speeches are killing me, man.
Yeah. You mentioned that earlier about you're not going to be somebody who's going to get to the end and make a big speech. Did you see that on the show, that somebody made a big speech and won?
Well, they're all making they make speeches every tribal council.
Right.
Ours, when you watch ours now, you're kind of like, oh, it's kind of boring compared to now. It's like action packed. But
right.
There's something just weird about it. Like everybody's trying to get their spot for season 50. Like if I could just get one last chance. So if I just make this grandiose speech, then maybe if I act like a nutcase here.
Right.
I don't know. I just find it less like Rupert, Sandra, Johnny, me, like Sean, just normal, just Jeff, this is how it is. Yeah, we're wasted at tribal council. God, you remember that?
So, Chris, I think what I hear people say now, and I know Rob has too, that people are trying to build a resume to get to the end. So I'm thinking that might have. We didn't think about that. I don't believe.
I was trying to survive, man. I didn't even know what was going on out there. I was just, because look, Rob's season was the first one I watched, really. And so, and then I had season 1. Okay, that was because I had a few tape recordings from season 6. That was it. I was lucky to have tape recorded that. But, we weren't so lucky to have all these things on DVD. So I got like season 1, for an example. I didn't have your season on any sort of recorded device. So, I mean, we just didn't have this whole idea of what it should be. So
right. Christa, you make such a good point, because that people take it for granted now that, people, they play, or even the fans, like, hey, I watch all this season. I watched this season yesterday. I watch this season once a month. And, you basically, when we were all on Survivor, it was on once. And unless you videotaped it, like Christa had a couple of tapes, that was it. And there was no reruns, and it was never on again. And then nobody watched these shows for like 10 years.
Yeah.
And Christa, what is it like for you to have a whole new generation of people watching your season when it's on Netflix and when it's on all these other streaming sites?
I mean, I love it. I still get people still come up to me as I'm like, they mostly come when Rupert and Sandra were here last.
Because you look the same.
They're like, Rupert, Sandra always has to be like, don't forget about Christa. Hi, it's me. No.
What made you apply? Did you had watched Borneo when it aired, or you just went back? You hadn't watched any of it?
No.
Yeah. How'd they find you?
Nothing.
I was a recruit, so I didn't apply. I did eventually, obviously. Yeah. I was a big Amazing Race fan at the time, so that was more my shtick. So.
And did you apply for the Amazing Race, and then they grabbed you for this?
No. I was just watching. I was just a viewer at the time, but I was working at Sony Pictures in LA for that time, and as a software engineer. And I remember my friend upstairs, she was a producer for our front end website development team, and she had IM'd me. She's like, Christa, do you want to be on Survivor? I was like, I don't know. What are you talking about? She's like, the show Survivor. I'm like, I have a meeting in 5 minutes. She's like, well, the casting director wants to call you. They're looking for a kooky, tall, really smart blonde.
Wow.
I'm like, okay, I'm kooky, I'm tall and smart. She's like, so I thought of you and you should be the one. And I'm like, all right. So I said, well, tell her, just call me in like an hour. And then this lady called, and I had all these people at my desk, and I'm like, woman, what do you want? She's like, well, I want you to come down and interview for Survivor. I'm like, okay, I've got lunch. I've got this. When I can fit you in next week. And she's like, okay. And I'm like, okay, just before you know it, I was at this hotel in Santa Monica. I'm like, I got to get back to work, you people, and Then they called me up to the room. It was so weird. And I was grinding my teeth because it was so nerve-wracking. Like, what is wrong with these people? Like, don't look at people. Don't talk to people. Don't even do this. And I'm like, what the fuck? Okay. And then, yeah, they told me I was going to be on. And I remember seeing Johnny Fairplay in the casting process. I remember seeing a whole room of Christas. It was so fun.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, they must really want a tall, blonde person. Okay. Clearly I'm here for a reason.
That's so interesting that they're like get so locked in on one particular thing that they want.
Yeah, I know, right? I don't know how many other Ruperts were there, but you know,
yeah,
all this stuff. But God, he was trying to pick up on me from that like moment on. I was like, "Don't look at me." He kept like, I'm like, looking the other way. He's gonna get all these people. What they were not afraid of getting in trouble. You see, I'm a rule follower. When somebody says don't look at somebody, you know what? I don't look at them. You know, when they tell you to sit down in the airplane, you know what? You get sit down in the airplane. You know, T-Bird.
Yeah, I know it.
Well,
so
go ahead, T-Bird.
So you went out there, you got cast, and you didn't know you really didn't know much about the show. You just showed up.
No, see, but now I do. See, if I had the chance to do it with my mind that I have now, it's like all these people, like they can't contain it when they have an idol. Like I can't handle that people can't handle their own secrets. Like, dude, keep your secret to yourself. Like humans are desperate to tell people things. Like
they're excited.
Come on, man. This was ridiculous. This whole season. I'm like, what is wrong with all these people?
So, Christa, you were part of such a, legendary, monumental season. And, your season has so many interesting things about it. But your season starts in such a unique way. And there's no other season like that where basically they told you were going to go take pictures and then they threw you off the boat. Can you just talk a little bit about what that experience was like to go from that you thought you were just going to go do something else and now all of a sudden you're in Survivor?
Yeah. Well, I remember that. I remember the whole day very clearly. We got in after we got off of the airplane. We got into this bus with towels over the window so nobody would see us. And then they escorted us to this giant sailboat. And of course, we were all exhausted. And again, I have this paranoia in me and I'm just like nervous. Like, I just want this shit to start. It's just so overwhelming, to always have these rules that you can't do everything. So I'm just trying not to look at people because I don't want to get kicked off because these people are. We have alternates ready in 1 second. It's like, okay, I get it. I get it. And then Jeff comes down and I'm feeling ill because I'm not good with boats. Me and boats don't work very well. And I'm laying down there. He's like, guys, they're making some powdered eggs. They're whipping them up over here. You guys should go eat. And I'm like, nah, Jeff, the what's her name? Just told me that we were one of the production casting people, we're gonna go to some island and then that's where we're gonna get off and we're gonna have breakfast there. So yo bro, I'm gonna wait, so thanks though. He's like, no, you guys should really eat. Yeah. And then man, I had been shopping for the whole month before, all this outdoor gear. Like, I'm gonna get this this nice rainproof, waterproof. I'm gonna stay warm because I'm not somebody that likes cold. Anything under 70 degrees and I'm dying in hypothermia. So that's why Rupert was, he's my BFF out there. I'm like, if we go to season 50 together, buddy, we got to go together because I need my loyal body warmth, But yeah, then it was pretty traumatizing. I didn't even have a hair tie. Come on. I wanted a hair tie on the island. A little bit of forethought would have got me a hair tie, but no. Didn't happen.
So you jumped off the boat and then you had to go they've never done this before in any other season before or after, that you all had to go into the Panamanian village and buy stuff. And I'm sure that must have been so surreal.
Yeah, that was fun. I liked it. We got to meet a lot of cool people. It was just a very interesting, it was just a lot of chaos. It was just, I don't know. I just followed everybody. That's how I don't know what's going on here. I'm nervous. I've read all this stuff about what I should do, shouldn't do. Don't talk too much. Don't do too much. Don't do this. Don't do that. And I had this whole list of stuff I was supposed to like manage in my head. Man, I'm just like, let me take Sandra's lead. I'm just going to roll with her. I'm just going to roll with whoever. I just can't handle it on my own. So these people, thank God Sandra knew Spanish. Oh.
Do you remember anything crazy that happened that didn't make the show from that experience?
Like a million things. A million things. Me trying to claim that me and John climbing the mango tree. Crazy Christa shaking the mango tree because I was like, I'm going to get that. But the best part was this one time, because we had that treasure chest out on our island.
Yes.
And we were determined to find it. And so John and I were like, yo, bro, it's going to be way out there, because when the tide would come up, the whole tree would go under on our island. But when the tide would go down, there would be this island out in the sandbar out in the middle of the ocean. And we're like, that's where it is. So at low tide, we're going to swim out. We're going to walk out there. So we walked out there. But then time caught up with us out there. And before you know it, production crew's out there with us. You should go back, you know? We're like, nah, we're good. And we're trying to dig up this, trying to find this treasure chest. And it's not materializing here. So, but all of a sudden, we're out in the middle of the ocean. And we have to swim back. And we have no energy. And then the tide's coming. It was just pushing us further and further out. So then we went to the side where all these rocky cliffs were. And John and I had to climb on these rocky cliffs. Our faces are all bloody. Everything's bloody. And we thought if we curse a lot, maybe they won't tape this and put it on there. So that's what we did.
Yeah.
Bad. You try having water push you into those rocky cliffs. It was horrible. Yeah, that happened.
Yeah.
A lot of things happened.
Wow. T-Bird, we almost lost Johnny Fairplay that day.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say, Christa, you're calling him Johnny. Of course, now I think everybody knows him as Fairplay. But so
they used to call him John then.
John, now, yeah. So was there stuff that you learned once you watched the season that you're like, I didn't know that. I didn't know he that said that or she did that. Anything like that particular that stands out?
No. I mean, honestly, it's been 21 years. I hate to say it. So maybe my memory's not that good, but I kind of feel like I was with the flow of most things going on. I mean, it's kind of hard not to just always, especially where we were, it was just, there's only so many places you could really go without getting some dangerous spots. So, no, I don't know. Yeah. No.
So, Christa, like Rob said, I mean, I remember Pearl Islands was quite a while back, but like I said, like Rob said, the cast super amazing. Everybody remembers your cast, but again, the opening was just great. So, Rob, this might be a good time to play the one thing that we don't know if Christa knows about or not.
Okay. All right. Got a little surprise for you. Hopefully it's better than what was in the treasure chest. Here's a little something for Christa.
Hey everyone. So, okay, listen, I know that you guys are interested in listening to a funny survivor Christa story. And as a matter of fact, it happened on day one. Something very memorable that you all saw was Rupert trading shoes for goods at the village once we jumped off the ship. But what you don't realize is that a pair of those shoes actually belonged to me. And the crazy part is that I did trade my necklace and some other things for like the barbecue grill and whatnot. But when I see Christa show up to tribal council because she was part of the jury, Christa's wearing my shoes that Rupert traded. So to me, that was hilarious because I thought those shoes were long gone. I didn't know production had gone back and gotten some of our items. They did manage to recover and get back from the villagers, but Christa ended up with my shoes. I ended up autographing them for her. And to this day, I believe she still has them. Christa, do you have the shoes?
Do you have the shoes?
That's a good question. I don't think I have the shoes. You know who I think has the shoes? Come on, you go.
Johnny Fairplay.
Johnny Fairplay.
No, come on. You know,
he has them signed by Sandra, and you can buy them on eBay.
I think I did sell them on eBay 21 years ago, but you know, okay, we all know the major Survivor fans.
Daryl.
Yes. Hello.
Okay.
With all due respect, Daryl's still with us.
You know,
do we know?
He's still with us. I was actually thinking about him the other day. Daryl, you know, there's Ziggy, there's Richard Monta, there's Mertz, there's Big Mike, there's Wezzy, Tasha, Steve. But Daryl takes the cake because Daryl is one of those people who has invested in our Survivor fan in such an extreme way. You know, he has his own museum. He has his own Survivor museum in Texas.
There's so many people that listen to this and maybe they don't know some of these names that you're talking about. Could you just set up like who that is that you're talking about?
These are the hardcore.
Do you know T-Bird? You know who this is?
Daryl?
Yeah.
Daryl,
Yes, I know. I'm familiar with the name. Yes.
Okay.
it's like we all know, everybody knows all these hardcore Survivor fans. And, when you're old school, especially, you definitely know these people because they've been with us since our entire time on Survivor. So
Right.
shout out to all of our mega Survivor fans and all the ones that we've never met so far. I love meeting fans. I tell you, they're the greatest. They came out to my mom's book launch party. Sandra posted on her Instagram, and we had the best time with a bunch of Survivor fans. Love them.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Daryl, he's the best.
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about how you were in charge of sewing clothes for your tribe? Could you talk about that, how that came out, and how you got put in that position?
Yeah, casting is good because they realized that Rupert and I were clothes makers. So clearly throw a sewing machine out on an island. I wasn't expecting that, but I guess there's no electricity for a modern one, so that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Spin the wheel, but man, my stuff came out good. Like I still have those pants in the garage, and I was looking at them, and they are like, for an island and no pattern, I'm gonna say I was pretty impressed. So that was cool.
And Christa, you thought you were going to be an asset because of your food making skills. So what do you think you were going to bring to that or be able to do? And were you able to?
Okay, no, well, you see, this is the problem, right? Again, not having watched much Survivor before, I didn't realize that rice was like the thing, rice. And my life, I don't cook rice. It's just, I do now, but I didn't then. I wasn't a rice cooker. People either grow up eating rice or you don't. I was more of a mashed potato house, potatoes. So Sandra became the rice cooker. She's like, girl, after I burnt the first handful of rice and then the other one was just crunchy, she's like, I'll take over the food side of things. I'm like, okay. But I am really like, see, right now, I always think that all these people are starving, but like I am really good at food, foraging, even just in general. Like if you told me to survive right now here on this island, I would take you over and, get you some rose hips or something, to get a little vitamin C. Like I know plants and roots and, these people are all starving, but I know how to collect good protein, good food. I'm like, nobody will dehydrate me, nobody will starve me out. I don't need Jeff's rice. I can totally handle this. So I was looking for taro root and things like that out there. And
all right. Well, speaking of interesting and unusual things to eat, one of the other iconic challenges from your season was when Jeff brought out the smoothie bar for you all. What was that like to get one of Jeff's smoothies?
Well, hungry people eat, I was hungry. I ate, I don't know.
Do you remember what yours was?
It was like blood oysters and squid and, something gnarly, but, the job had to get done. You just, again, you can't think about the stuff.
It was more gross. He was pouring like milk in there.
Yeah, I don't know what that was. It was all it was good. It was good. Yes, it was a moment. It was a moment.
Yeah.
But our season was totally like mellow, except for that outcast thing. What the hell? I'm glad they never brought that.
Well, let's talk about that because that's a big controversy over whether or not they should have even done that.
Right? I know. Well, they always say, and you know what? I don't know if you've talked to all of them, but I am still dying to know because they still stand by the fact that, oh no, production starved us out. They made sure we had nothing. I'm like, I call BS on that. No.
Yeah.
No, you guys were fully capable. We were dying there. And just the fact, that I always say this now. I know I feel like my mother is saying stupid comments after they snuff out somebody's torch. And like, like some snarky little comments like, the tribe has spoken, it's like, or with until you get your torch snuffed. I'm like, yeah. Until you come back on our season, they just fucking light it up again. Excuse my language, but yeah.
Yeah. I feel like the story is they say, oh, they only had an apple every day. That's all they had to eat was an apple.
Oh, right. Yeah, right, dude.
Oh, did they sleep on the beach too? They sleep in the rain?
Yeah, no. These people, they got it good. They got it good. You know what? They're like, you don't know what it's like to be mentally out of this game. I'm like, yeah, okay, dude. Just, it's the worst because I had, and this is another lesson for Survivor.
Yeah.
Never, at least with my season, just, I felt such like, awesome sauce, like laughing people out of that game. It felt so good because it was like, when you're accomplishing, like you were able to succeed and you're like, the plan worked. It wasn't me. Yeah. And then when you're able to like laugh them out of tribal council because you're like, you thought you got me, man. No, I got you. No, but that's how it goes. And unfortunately, when these people came back, I was swallowing. I was like,
yeah.
Be so snarky, Christa. Be a nicer person.
Christa, have you and your cast ever talked about who would have won the game if they didn't do the outcasts?
Nah, I shoulda, woulda, coulda. There's a lot of luck. I always say that with Sandra.
Do you think one person was in a really good position to have won, or you think it would have been Sandra anyway?
It would have been. She's the best game player out there. Her and John, honestly, were the only two people. I mean, I'll admit it. I wasn't playing anywhere like these people. Like if I had any forethought, I mean, who knows where I could have. Maybe I would have gotten voted off sooner. I don't know. But if I had any concept of what was going on there, but these people, they didn't care. Like their job was to win. And, I don't know. Everybody else was kind of just relaxing and coasting by and just super fans. Michelle, she was a super fan. All these super fan people. What is a super fan? Which, by the way, I would totally fail those super fan challenges.
Yeah.
Have you like try to organize like if you told me name one winner. Shoot, I don't even remember who.
Name one winner, Christa. One
winner from the last 20 seasons.
Name one winner from the last 20 seasons.
Okay, hold on. I just have to think. Somebody just went. What's her name? Kenzie just won.
She's T-Bird, super fan.
There you go. Literally, I cannot name. I can't even come up with one other one. I can't even tell you what the seasons are called. Like
you go. What you? All right, this is a quiz, Christa. What was the last season called?
Season 46.
Yep, she got it.
There it is. There it is, Christa.
Wow.
Yeah, there it is. I mean, come on. Like all these people.
I feel like we're being canceled, T-Bird. She keeps coming up with, I can't even answer this question that she came up with, and then she answers her own question.
Right.
There you go.
She's pretty sharp. Did she mention earlier when they were casting an intelligent, beautiful blonde?
Yeah, you're setting us up.
Yeah. So Christa, I believe I read that you had said that you didn't believe John for a minute with the grandma, because you said he talked about his grandma, and then after the news came that she had passed, I think you said he was rolling around laughing, and she goes, nobody's that happy after they found out that grandma passed. Did you pretty much know that was?
Yeah, you see, so another thing that you don't see is the hours of footage. So John and I, we were tight. We spent most of our free time together, hanging out, racing crabs and talking. And, my childhood love was WWE. So WWF and the Glow, the Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling.
Yeah.
I was a dork child, but like John and I got along because I could be like, yeah, the Undertaker's coming, do you smell what the Rock is cooking, the people's elbow? I mean, because I live, this is like, I begged my father when I was growing up to, God, please watch Monday Night Raw. So, but like, we could literally talk wrestling all day long. So that's something that you probably didn't see. But yeah, just with John, I knew a lot about his family, and, obviously you have a lot of time to hear the same thing on repeat. So it was just a little bit weird, just it just didn't make quite sense with what I had been hearing the weeks up to that. So there was something not right about the whole situation. I was banished. Oh, all these people, God, bullies, man, bullies. And I'm going to stand up to bullies next time. If there
next time.
Well,
go ahead, T-Bird.
When you were voted out, though, you didn't seem, just from, looking back at the stuff that you had said, you didn't seem to be too disappointed. Were you not disappointed?
Well, I mean, what are you supposed to do, right? It's
sport.
Yeah, I mean, hey, man, it's just, that's what happened. It happened. And I remember looking at the sky that night. And again, you just mentally can never let yourself even think that, because it doesn't matter. Like, look, we're in a controlled situation. If I pass out and die, somebody will know. It's not probably going to be on camera. Like I had to just trust that the process was going to be okay for me. But I remember sitting there with the stormy night, and I was like, oh God, here comes the rain again. And if I have to deal with this again, I'm going to be so cold. And it was harder and harder to keep warm with, so few people that didn't mind me spooning on. I'm just penguin, get over here, man. You're a penguin. I'm a penguin. Let's huddle. You go in the back.
So, Christa, were you contacted after that for any other seasons?
No. All the usual stuff like, would you be interested? But no, like, hey, roll in. Not when you have all these mega players. It's hard to compete when you're just like a little jellyfish with all the sharks. There's all the sharks in the Survivor Sea, but every so often they do throw in a jellyfish. So that's my only hope, like Amber. I think about Amber, like, where did she come from season 2?
That's
like,
a good question. Yeah.
Right. Here she is. She was a 6th placer like me. And here comes the jellyfish into the sharks and she won. So I could be a jellyfish in a shark pool.
Yeah.
Eventually.
You would be a great jellyfish. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Did you?
Were you rooting for Andrew Savage when he came back for second chances?
Oh, gosh. I mean, really, Savage of all people. I mean, I hate to say it, but was he friends with Probst? Is that why he got on? Because he was able to keep in contact with Jeff, and Jeff didn't like my 24-year-old me. Well, Jeff, you would like the 45-year-old me.
I think he would love that. I mean, if you could get in front of him now.
Nah. Well, he's just like, it probably has all 700 people emailing him. Jeff.
Does that mean you weren't pulling for Savage?
No, I didn't really like Savage. I'll say as a player, as a human, he's a nice guy. He's helped me out many times in life. So I don't want to discount Savage.
Yeah.
But as a player from my
He's Morgan, T-Bird. She's Drake. Yeah. They're from the opposite sides of the tracks.
Exactly. And I just, I would have rather it was me. But I couldn't have gone at that time anyway. So, so everything works out the way it should in life.
Yeah.
Christa, so have you shown your Survivor season to your kids, and what has their reaction been?
Yeah, actually, we watched it recently because they were like, "Hey, Mom, we don't remember seeing you on Survivor."
Yeah.
It's my 18-year-old. I have an 18-year-old. I have a 16-year-old who's almost 17 in a couple weeks. And I have a 2-year-old, this giant 2-year-old. He's this beast of 45 pounds, 40 inches. He's off the chart in height and weight. He keeps me.
Yeah. That was good practice when you had to hold all the water.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that was tough. But yeah, no. My kids have seen it and they like it. It's fine. It's all of their friends at school are always like, "Oh, I know exactly who your mom is," and I'm like, "What do they know about me?" Because it's like, you do a little quick Google on Christa, you never know what you're gonna find. It's like people always stick with some old school stuff about weird shit from the past, and I'm like, oh God, I can't even handle it. Like, did people ever move on in life?
No.
Had your husband seen it? Had Ali seen it when y'all met?
Yeah, everybody's seen it. My mom loves it. My mom's like, because my mom
before he met you, had he seen
it?
No, he hadn't. Okay.
No, it's it's not even a thing. I don't even think he ever watched any Survivor before he met me, but we do watch it now. We it's like our family time to all watch Survivor together. It's fun. My oldest wants to do it, but she's afraid to put in her application because she's like, the problem is that if I put in my audition tape, they might actually call me because, Boston Rob's kids are getting of age.
Legacy. That they're going to do that season eventually.
Yep. Well, I'm sure they will. And she's like, the likelihood that they might call me is preventing me from doing this.
Yeah. I don't know when there will be a young Mariano, I'm sure, on that season. But, T-Bird, how could they say no to that?
No, I definitely expect this. So Christa, your daughter, is that your 18-year-old? Is that Misha?
Yep.
Okay, so Misha is not she's kind of a fan of reality. I saw that she won a first place in a cooking show, right?
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah, she's awesome, man.
So when you mentioned about, bringing to the show your cooking skills, I was thinking maybe Misha got that from you. And then, so she's already done a reality show and won.
Yeah. And she got invited to the championship. So that's cool. But super cool. Love that Shop Kitchen. That was quite the experience for her. But she got to come, there's Give Kids the World out in Florida, which is a great event. that a lot of survivors do every year. But I took her 1 year out there, and it was nice because she was somebody that was technically on reality TV, but I got to show her some of the fun because, collectively we are just such a huge powerhouse, and that's like amazing that we can come collectively together to make people, to bring awareness to all sorts of organizations and bring brightness to individuals. It's just, she got to experience that and sign the program with her name in it. It was a good experience, good mom and daughter experience. So,
Christa, any particular person she really liked out of the group that she met?
She's like everybody. I like everybody.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry about that.
T-Bird.
My foot hit the bell. What?
Yeah. So Christa, Sandra had just recently this year been on The Traitors. What was that like watching Sandra go play on The Traitors?
That's a good question because I actually haven't seen it yet.
You haven't watched it?
Don't tell me anything about it because it was on Peacock at first, and I literally subscribed to every single streaming channel.
You're not spoiled on anything with Traitors?
No, but that's the next show. I just finished. Okay, I just watched Fight to Survive. Dude.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Really? Have you guys seen Fight to Survive?
Fight to Survive New Zealand?
Okay, no.
Or Alaska?
This is another one. That's not Fight to Survive. It's, what is it? What's the one that Missy Bird was on also? It was called...
I don't even, yeah. Boy, you're such a Missy Bird super fan that you are just to watch everything that she does.
She's amazing, man. But I just, you want to be on her team.
Christa, you're going to love Traitors. I loved it. And guess what? Your other girl is on it. Stephanie LaGrossa was on the second one. Right, Rob?
Stephanie LaGrossa is on. Yes. Fight to Survive. Fight to Survive. You're right. That is. I was getting it confused with a different. I think there's a different show like Race to Survive. I was thinking of. But yeah, you're right. How was Fight to Survive?
Just like the greatest show ever.
The greatest show ever.
Like so hardcore. Like I would never do it myself, but it's just totally unfair as far as anything is concerned.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just, have you seen this?
I saw an episode and they like take things from each other and then they like wrestle, right? They wrestle. It's like literally most of the time. It's like T-Bird, I want your popcorn popper. So let's go. All right, now we're gonna wrestle. I'm gonna break your wrist and your neck to get it too, and that's okay. It's all rules are okay. So I'm like, you have something I want, so now we have to fight. Yep.
She's already said she likes the whole wrestling thing.
Yeah.
As a young, did you watch Fair Play in any of his wrestling things?
No. I was a kid when I liked wrestling.
Yeah. He doesn't really ever fight anybody, though, right?
Does he? I don't know.
I don't think so.
I'm not sure.
He don't want to be. But...
Sometimes he'll get like hit with the chair, I think.
Oh, I know, right? By the way, in real life, I decided.
I saw one time that he fought Danny Bonaducci.
Oh, I saw that too.
And he lost, T-Bird.
Yeah, of course, right.
So, Christa, obviously you want to be on that show for sure.
No.
I mean, you want to be on the, what is it, Fight to Survive?
I don't want to be on Fight to Survive.
You just love it.
Yeah, what show are you going to be on, Christa?
I just Survivor. I decided, no.
Blood
Survivor.
versus Water?
No.
With Misha.
No. Oh,
Blood
yeah.
versus
Misha. Take her out in a second. No problem.
Yeah.
Easy one. No, I'm joking. I always joke.
Christa, what about, they're going to do a Survivor Australia versus the USA. Would you go in and play in Australian Survivor with a team of US players against Australian players?
That sounds pretty fun, right? I heard Sandra was saying something about, because her daughter is on Australia.
Yes, Sandra has played, and Sandra's daughter has played twice on Australian Survivor.
Okay, see, I'm such a bad friend. I'm a bad friend. I haven't watched this stuff, but I'll get to it.
Sandra doesn't care about that stuff.
No, she doesn't. But I mean, she's like, did you see The Traitors? I was like, whoops, sorry, I will, because now that it's not on Peacock anymore. Sorry, Peacock. I do love, but I've literally.
I think it's still on Peacock.
Well, I know, you see, but if you're like me, I'm like the clicker of subscribe to every streaming channel, and suddenly my husband's like, "We've got $500 in streaming channel
Too
bills." I'm like,
much.
"Oh, I forgot the trials, huh? I just wanted to watch this one show." Whoops.
Hmm.
So
You're
that's
not
how it
like
goes.
Krista. And Krista, they're casting more Survivor players on. I think the third one we think they're casting some.
Yep.
Right? Did you like Carolyn? Remember Carolyn from the last season?
Yeah, she was great. I remember her.
All right, she's
Yeah.
adorable. And who else? Jeremy that won Second Chances. Jeremy the firefighter.
Yeah, I remember there was a firefighter.
She said she doesn't know any winners from the last 10 years, T-Bird.
Tony? You remember Tony Falachos. Did I say his name right? I think I did. Isn't Tony going to be on the next Tigers Room?
Wasn't he the cop dude?
Yeah.
He's cop
Yeah,
dude.
Tony, like cops are off. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. My mom loves Tony. My mom loves all the bad guys. She watches Survivor on repeat. Literally, I have to close her door to her room because it's like, wait. It's like, oh my gosh. It reminds me of this one time in Houston where we had that charity event down there, and some Survivor fan picked me up in his car, and he played that CD of the soundtrack, and I was like, what is going on here? I can't handle this. Wait,
so talk about this story. So you went to Houston with your mom, and a Survivor fan picked up your mom in a car?
No! Tell me what that girl's... I'm such a...
What girl?
What's the lady that lives in... She was a Survivor player. She lived in Houston. She threw the Houston reality challenge. What was her name?
Jolanda? Yes.
Jolanda, that's it. No, it was just me. It was just me. But like, yeah. So my mom, she plays this stuff now on repeat. And it's like every time it brings me back to Houston.
Okay, it brings me back to when Jolanda picked you up in the car and then she was playing the Survivor soundtrack on CD.
They took me to a bunch of nightclubs that night, and it was just the most interesting experience I've ever had in my life.
It's wild.
Krista, does your mom like the bullies?
The bullies? Yeah, she loves the bullies.
She loves the bully players, but you don't.
Well, not necessarily, bully versus, strategic. Like, she loves Johnny Fairplay. Like, she can still remember sitting.
Even though he voted you out?
Yes. No, she loves him. She sat with Mark Burnett at our season finale because I always bring my mom to everything. If there's some red carpet there, I better get my mom there. And they're like, okay, we'll pick her up in a limo. And they brought her to LA. And my mom was smoking at the time. And so she went out for a smoke break and was watching the TV out in the smoke area. And Mark Burnett meandered and sat next to her. And she's like, oh, I love that Johnny Fairplay. Blah, blah, blah. He's the best player. And she loves Tony. I remember the cop. Yeah, him.
Yes. Yes.
Your mom needs to be campaigning for you for season 50, not these other players.
Well, they're interesting to watch, right? I'm just, Jeff asked me a question, but everything's okay, Jeff. Everything's just fine. We're just getting along just fine with my bobblehead,
Hey, Krista, this is a Tina Wesson question now that we're going to ask. Tina's wants to know if you got any kind of tattoo after Survivor because of Survivor. Remember, Rob, she wanted us to...
Yeah, that's a good question. It is a good question.
Yes. You remember? Did you go? You didn't go. Okay, so I held a 10-year Survivor reunion on Catalina Island.
Yes.
Because there used to be a point in time. So John Carroll, back in the day, used to be the one who was the Survivor secretary.
Yes.
There's always a Survivor secretary. And so John Carroll was the original Survivor secretary. And then when he left that position, I kind of took that position from him. And I managed all of the Survivor contact list for a while. And even Ann over at CBS, who's not there anymore, she would ask me, like, can you help me find XXXXX? And I'm like, sure, we hook you up. So here's Kelly Wigglesworth. She's in Mexico, and I would hook him up with the contact information. So, I think that I don't even know what my question is anymore.
So you were talking about the Catalina event, and it was what? It was like 2010.
Was it 2010? Yeah, it was a while ago.
10 years, right?
Over 100 and something people come out there. It was.
And I think it was right. It was right around when I got married. I think it was like that summer, and so yeah.
How's it going with your marriage, by the way? Everything
so far, so good, Krista.
There you go. I'm almost married 10 years. This September, we're celebrating our 10-year anniversary. So hey.
Yes.
Krista, the tattoo.
Oh yeah, back to the tattoo. Okay, yeah, no. So back on Catalina Island, I was trying to think of fun activities to do for 3 days, other than all of the general kayaking and paddleboarding
Mhm.
and all the general stuff. But I got this cool drummer dude to come out, and we did a big drum circles. But one of the big things is I had a tattoo artist come out there,
Oh my
and
God.
he tattooed about 60 of us with all of the different same. We all have this little TV. Sandra has one right here on her wrist. Yeah, we got tons of us.
Oh
Richard has
man.
one.
Wow.
Dozens of us have them. So ask who has them. I have one on the back of my neck. Everybody got the
T-Bird?
TV,
Yeah.
and everybody got something else inside of their TV. So some people got just different stuff. So like we had some people there from The Bachelor and The Bachelorette, and we had some other people from like average. You remember Dennis from Average Joe?
Oh yeah, Average Dennis. Yep.
Average Dennis, and he came out. We had a bunch of random, and they would put different things in their television.
What would you get in your TV tattoo, T-Bird?
Oh, well, I want to know what's inside Christa's. TV.
It's a nothing significant. It was the year I was born. I could not think of something else to put in there. So
what'd you put in there?
78 for the year I was born.
Okay, Rob.
It's a good vintage. Yes.
You already know what I get.
Popcorn?
Popcorn. I'm wrong side. Popcorn. And what would you get, Rob? Rob, you should get this. The bell.
The bell. Okay, that's a good idea.
That would be perfect. So, Christa, have you thought about getting any of them taken off? Because Tina's working on getting hers removed.
Yeah. I like Tina, by the way. Tina's good people.
Yeah.
I would love to get mine removed. It's actually on my list to get, not necessarily the TV, but I have like, I don't mind the one I've got one on my ankle. That's the day my dad died. It was 9/8/93. And, but some of the other ones I want to get off of I've always gotten tattoos in places where nobody can really see them. If I have my hair down or socks covered, I hate to say it, but people do judge you by your tattoos. And, it's fine if they do, but I just don't need it. I don't need the prejudgment.
That's why, Tina had a lot of butt tattoos.
Yeah, butt tattoos are where it's at. You want to have the secrets, place them on the butt.
If your children come to you and say, "Hey, Mom, I want to get a tattoo," are you just going to say, "Hey, whatever, go with it," or what? You going to encourage it or discourage it?
Say like, as long as it's on your butt, that's fine. Your butt is your business. That's what I always say.
Yeah, butt's your business, and I couldn't agree more. I'm going to discourage them from doing it, I think, because I always try to tell them I'm a very open mom. I say it how it is, and I always like to just say it. And I figured it's better to be open than having your kids try to seek out information from other people who may be guiding them in the wrong direction. And I just say it all, and I tell them my opinion and other people's opinion. But yeah, they listen for the most part. But I tell them, the whole point is you're supposed to evolve and be better than your mother and your father, and you're supposed to be better than me. And let me tell you, I was lucky for a lot of my life and situations, but I don't.
Yeah, but you don't like all of the crazy survivor villains like your mom.
Yep, total villain. She wishes she was, 20 years old so she could do it all over. So I would get out there. Would you? Would you, mother? I don't know.
Christa, thank you so much for coming on today. Thank you so much for letting us aggravate you for the last 5 years. Now that I know what you were doing for the last 5 years, I totally understand. So
where can people get the book, T-Bird?
Well, Christa sent me this book.
So you have, if you want the book, you have to find Christa and ask her to send it to you.
No.
Is that right?
I don't want to start anything, but Christa, I was thinking about this.
You should sell it somewhere, I think.
I was thinking that I should pass it to someone, and then they should pass it to someone, because you sent me this as a gift. I don't know how we can
Christa,
get
don't you think everybody should buy their own book?
Well, but this one needs to be circled around,
Well, if you want to circle around, the good news is there are little free libraries everywhere, and there are people that like reading. And so I think the more people that read the story, the better. I think it's, like I say, that not only the story itself is a tribute to my grandparents. I wish that they were here. It's a tribute to all my aunts and uncles who are long gone. But there's a lot of things in the story that I think a lot of readers who like a lot of different genres, if you like historical fiction, I think that you'll like a lot of the takeaways from that side of the book, because it goes through World War II and what my grandparents went through to get us to a better place. Because, you know, a lot of times if you start seeing, you know, bombs dropping out, you know, close near your home, you're probably going to make a plan to get the hell out of where you're at too, you know, if you can. And so that's what my grandparents did. They didn't really see beyond World War I, living through that, and then beyond World War II. Like, they tried to make a better life for our family. And here I am in America, and I can thank them for that. And my mom and her courage to leave Canada after they came from Germany. You know, it was heartbreaking for my mom. And, you know, just imagine, you know, the story is raw in the sense that, let's just imagine right now in modern times, we have so much exposure to like newspapers and TV, and like we know a lot about life, you know. We have sex education at school, drug education, like we know those things. But my mom and her sister came from a little village where it was just like you learn crochet and like basic stuff, how to maintain your home, and not necessarily these other things. And there was no TV or newspaper. So, you know, a lot of it is trying to showcase, like, we may know things now, but like this girl didn't know anything, you know, when she came from Germany to Canada. But also just showing what the common people think of during war, because right now we have a lot of wars in the world going on. And, you know, a lot of times I think, you know, I've studied a lot of history. I was a double major in chemistry and political science in college. And one of the things I really enjoyed was hearing the perspective of other people. And a lot of times people put hard dates on things in history. And, you know, I hope that my family's story is sort of a showcase piece for that, because it shows that there isn't some hard reset button when they say the war is over, is that people really suffer for years and years to come after that. And it's not as simple as just starting over and it's over. And, but the big takeaway is a lot of families have a lot of hope now. We've been working with a lot of major organizations. I encourage people to subscribe to Facebook pages like the Aware Foundation, Unidentified Bodies of Canada, the DOE organization, because all of these organizations are advocates for the missing. And there are so many missing, alarming news. You know, 191 kids went missing from the state of Virginia this last month of May.
Wow.
Yeah, in San Diego County, over 8,000 girls and boys under the age of 18 are trafficked to Mexico every year from San Diego County, where I live. And, you know, the problem is that people are so busy in their lives that they're not paying attention. They're always on their phones and things like that. But take some time to subscribe to these organizations. They report on every missing person across the country. And look at these people. And really take time away from your phone and look at their faces and their body features and what they were wearing. Take time to find out these cases. A lot of them really rely on volunteers to help hike and search for missing bodies, missing people. A lot of people don't have graphic designers to help make posters and distribute them. A lot of people have to work. And imagine, you have kids, right, Rob?
Yeah.
Okay, imagine your child just one day, you send him to school and then gone.
Yeah.
And then like you let them out of the car. And this happens so often. Parents will let their kids out of cars and like they will never make it to the gate of their school. And somebody will have taken them by then. And this happens in America right now every single day. And if we could just start paying attention and get off our phones, these people live among us. And if you've never heard J.C. Dugard's story or, you know, Rosemary's story, you'll find out these people are living among us. And it's like, it's so easy to think that it's so easy. Just do this and just do that and just get out of the situation you're in. And it's just not like that. And they live everywhere among us, and we can all be a huge help. And even nice writing, but doing the DNA kits, I really hope that some survivor fans take the initiative, put their DNA up there, join some of these Facebook groups, get hiking, get sharing of pictures on your social media. You don't have to even move from your desk. And we had so many thousands of people all around the world help us with my mom's case. And it's so humbling that people take time and energy out of their day to have helped us. And we never would have gotten as far without all these people. And I just encourage everybody to read my mom's story. I wrote the afterword in the back of the book, and I helped her. It's a lot to get a 500-page book from start to completion.
Yeah,
and
no joke.
Yeah, I really had no idea what it would take, but I've been here to help support her, and it's a fantastic book. Of course, I think so myself.
Well, Christa, I will tell you, when you sent this to me, and I said, well, how many pages was it? And you said 500. I'm like, oh, okay. I read it in 3 days. I'm not a book reader. I'm embarrassed to say. I loved it. It brings so much awareness in so many topics that you've brought up today. I promise no one will be disappointed if they get this book. It is fabulous. It is very good. Thank you so much for the awareness and for everything you've mentioned. You're going to touch a lot of people with this. Let your mom know too. Thank you. I know she's suffered for a lot of years, worrying about her sister, but thank you. Thank you for everything.
Yeah. Well, I'll say you're welcome.
Okay. All right, Christa, thank you so much. All the best. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, T-Bird.
Thank you, Christa.
All right, T-Bird, there you have it, Christa Hastie.
Finally, we got her. And she had plenty to say. We could have talked to her for a long
She's such a personality. You get the same sense of her that you got from the show, and just like a real fun person to listen to.
Yeah, she's a big personality and looks exactly the same to me that she did 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Still beautiful.
Put a ton of work into the book. Right. So, nice to see people, working hard and accomplishing things. T-Bird, we still have lots of Talking with T-Birds lined up here for this summer.
Rob, season 5 will not disappoint. And we've got people that I have been working on for the last 4 to 5 years. So
you're really locked in.
Yeah, I just want to throw that out there. It's going to be a great season. So,
all right. Well, catch up on some of the old Talking with T-Birds when you go to robinswebsite.com/T-Bird-feed. Of course, follow at T-Bird Cooper as well on social media. T-Bird, anything else you wanted to let people know?
No, just, it's great to be back for the summer.
All right.
Summer program.
Yep. Okay. And be on the lookout for all of T-Bird's social media posts as well. Thank you so much for joining us. Take care, everybody. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.